Come on in, folks. Grab a seat. Make yourselves comfortable. Good morning and welcome. Good morning and welcome. I am Reverend Mary Murray Shelton, the community spiritual leader here at Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. My pronouns are she and her. And the reason I'm telling you that is because I just came back from our convention in South Carolina. And one of the things that we have been emphasizing over and over again as a large organization is the values of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And one of our speakers, who is the new minister in Oakland, said at East Bay, when she introduced herself, very feminine-looking woman, but she said, my pronouns are she and her. And the reason that I say that is because you can't tell by looking at me, necessarily. And it also acknowledges and gives permission for those whose gender identity is different than their appearance or different from what's considered the majority, to state who they are clearly so that they can be addressed as they are. And I think that's really valuable. So I'm going to start including that and getting used to that. And so that's why I'm doing that, and you'll be aware of that. My heritage, I'm part of the Irish diaspora. So 3 of my 4 grandparents, their grandparents came from Ireland into Canada, into the US. So that's my ancestral background. Now, we are on ancestral lands, too, that belong to indigenous tribes. So we want to honor the land that we're on as well as we begin this morning. And this is Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. So if you hadn't intended to come here, welcome anyway. You're in the right place by divine appointment. We always consider that if you're here, even if somebody dragged you here, you're here by divine appointment, and we're glad that you kept that appointment. We welcome you, and we are delighted to have you with us this morning. So, at the beginning of the service, what we do is we welcome one another. So I want to invite you now to stand up, walk around, say hi to people, introduce yourselves to anybody new, anybody you don't recognize, welcome back those you haven't seen in a while, and just kind of generally schmooze for a minute or two, and I will call you back. And those of you online, you are also deeply welcome here. We invite you to get another cup of coffee, sit down, enjoy the morning. In just a minute or two, we'll be back to sing our opening song, so hang in there with us. All right, very good. So we are especially blessed this morning to welcome one of our favorite musicians in person, Daniel Nahmad. So we're going to sing with Daniel, and he's going to introduce the opening song, and then I invite you to stand and join us in the song.
Oh, I'm singing something, and we're all singing something? Is that the idea?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, great. Okay.
The All Together song.
The All Together song.
So everybody stand.
Love is my decision. It's up to me. It's up to me to give of my heart, to give of my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start, can tell me to start. Once I decide, and once I decide to change my mind, to change my mind. God will show me how. God will show me how. Love is my decision, my decision, my decision, right here and now, right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me. It's up to me to stand on that bridge, to stand on that bridge. Love is my decision. No one else can make me forgive, can make me forgive. And once I decide to change my mind, to change my mind, God will show me how. God will show me how. Love is my decision. My decision, my decision, right here and now, right here and now. One more time, here we go. Love is my decision. It's up to me. It's up to me to dance down that road, to dance down that road. Love is my decision. No one else can lighten my load, can lighten my load. Once I decide to change my mind, to change my mind, God will show me how. God will show me how. Love is my decision, right here and now. My decision, right here and now.
Yes, a little more enthusiasm there on the applause. That's for him and for you. Yes, very good. Yeah, all right. Terrific. Thank you. So now is the time to go ahead and silence your cell phone. We're going to prepare to turn within. So we've done the greetings, we've done the singing, so we've presenced ourselves individually and collectively in the room. Now we're going to turn within. And I'm going to invite our morning platform practitioner, Reverend Judith Fleener, up to do the opening for us right now.
Love. It's a feeling, it's a presence, it's a power. It's in this room right now. We can see it in the smiles and the laughter. Sometimes love is hard to feel when we're feeling sad or embarrassed or troubled. And so now is a time to let go of whatever came before today. The busyness of getting ready in the kitchen for a wonderful, loving potluck. The traffic, dealing with a child as we left trying to get here on time. Whatever it took to get here, now is the time to be present. Because presence and this present moment is all there is. And so as I center into this present moment of love, forgiveness, power, joy, chaos, I remember that all those are powers of the one, the only, the life force that I call God. And so I center now, remembering that I am connected to the divine in each and every moment. In each and every moment, not only when there's good, but when there's fear, embarrassment, shame, as well as joy, love. I am always connected. And so it is my job to center in and remember that connection. So in this place of remembrance, I claim for this time together that each and every soul has a chance to reconnect to that which it was never disconnected from, allowing each and every soul to have the rest of the present moment. For it's in the present moment that we can step forward into the next. And so I claim for this time together a healing, a joy, a relifting of the heart, the soul, the body, allowing for everything today just to go as smoothly as possible, knowing the music will uplift the heart, the words will connect with the mind, knowing that the technology is here to serve us, and that the food that we eat will nourish us not only in body, but in communion with community. And so for all of this, and so much more, I just give thanks, and I let it be, and so it is.
When my hands were emptied, when my hope was gone, I couldn't help but wonder, what had I done wrong? But even though my heart was broken, there was no need to despair, 'cause a vessel must be open to put something better there. Oh yeah. Into my empty hands, gently you pour new life for me. Yours is a perfect plan. The ups and the downs were meant to be. Now I understand you needed my empty hands. So forgive me when I doubt it. I admit sometimes I do. Or consider giving up 'cause I cannot see the truth. I know I'll never go without it. Your deep and abiding love, oh love. Into my empty hands, gently you pour new life for me. Yours is a perfect plan. The ups and the downs were meant to be. Now I understand You needed my empty hand. Yours is a perfect plan. The ups and the downs were meant to be. And I cannot help but cry to think of the gifts you've given me. Now I understand. You needed my empty hand. So thank you for my thank you for my empty hand.
Thank you, Daniel. Grand Rising. That's a greeting. Say it back. Grand Rising. Yeah. This is our theme for this year. It's a greeting that is wishing someone a breakthrough, a lift in their life. It's like saying hello, have a great day, all in one. And so that's what our theme is for 2024, not just ours here at Golden Gate, but throughout Centers for Spiritual Living. This month, in the month of February, I'm speaking about divine discontent, or divine discomfort, which is the theme in the Science of Mind magazine this month. And this image comes from The Matrix. So the choice is for Neo to choose the red pill or the blue pill. If he takes the blue pill, he gets the status quo. He gets to go back to his life, forget everything he might have been discovering, and just keep on keeping on exactly the way it is. If he takes the red pill, however, it's like the scales in his eyes are going to fall away and he's going to see what's true, what's real. And he has to make a choice. Is he going to take the blue pill and stay in the status quo, or the red pill and be launched into the unknown? And if you've seen the movie, you know he chooses to take the red pill, which I don't know what I would do, but I like to think I might be curious enough to take the red pill and say, I'd like to see what else is available, what else is possible. And so, along those lines, today I'm talking about the transformative power of embarrassment. How many here have ever been embarrassed? Okay, good crowd. We know this is a good theme for us. Embarrassment is that I was just thinking as we were beginning this morning that in the moment when you first catch that you're embarrassed, when it hits you, it's exactly the feeling, that shock feeling is exactly like if you cut yourself or burn yourself or stumble and hit something. There is a moment of shock that happens first. Yes? You aware of that? And then as soon as the shock kind of stops, then you get all the feeling of whatever it is, of the burn, of the embarrassment, whatever that feeling is. There's a moment, just a moment there when it's happened, and there's a tiniest little gap between when it happens and when that moment of shock hits you. Just a tiny little gap. This fellow says, recently my girlfriend Karen got a job at a local hardware store. The owners don't want us hanging out with our friends, she told me. So if you stop by, just tell them you're my brother. So on my first visit, he says, I walked to the customer service desk and asked the older woman there, is Karen around? When she looked at me quizzically, I added, I'm her brother. She smiled. What a nice surprise, she said. I'm Karen's mother. Now, there's a moment when he hears what she said, but before it actually registers what's just happened, there's a pause, and then bam, there's that kind of embarrassment that you feel. And that's a powerful moment. It is not a comfortable moment. It's not a moment that we want to repeat, but it is a moment that opens something. There's a possibility that happens when that moment hits us. And so we have to make almost like a split-second decision about how we're going to respond to this uncomfortable feeling, this kind of call for emergency. You know, if you cut yourself and it's bleeding a lot, first there's the shock and the pain of the cut, and then there is kind of a momentary like panic of, oh, what do I do? You know, do I need a Band-Aid? Do I need to wash it? Do I need to run to emergency? Do I need to sit on the floor and cry? You know, what do I need to do? But it isn't really a logical process. A lot of stuff is happening all at once, yes? Hello? Yes. These are not rhetorical questions, yeah? So we then have a choice about what to do. And generally speaking, what we'll do is we will very quickly launch ourselves into something to prevent us from feeling bad or frightened or worried or hurt, you know. Because when we're embarrassed, we feel a lot like this egg that's about to be smacked by the mallet. Like, ooh, you know, we're on the verge of something really bad, right? It's just happened, and we feel what? So when we first get embarrassed, we feel vulnerable. It's like we realize that the mask is torn away, and whatever we just said or did, we've been caught. We've been caught in being short-sighted, judgmental. We've been caught in a fib. We've been caught somehow. John O'Donohue, the Irish priest and poet, wrote a poem called For One Who Holds Power, and there's one line in it where he says, may you welcome your own vulnerability as the ground where healing and truth join. May you welcome your own vulnerability as the ground where healing and truth join. So where those things come together, where those possibilities are available, is right in that moment of embarrassment, when we're feeling vulnerable. We also can feel broken open, like, well, up until now, you know, I felt like I was put together and well protected and all that good stuff, but now I'm exposed. Now I've lost cover. So one of the things that ministers do for cover is we use our role, we use our title, we use our position. And it's not just ministers, but I can't tell you how many times, this is a pet peeve of mine, so it probably, you don't even notice it and it doesn't bother you, but when I hear somebody introduce themselves on television or in a live gathering, and they say, my name is Reverend Mary Murray Shelton, I always sit there, I go, no. You are Reverend Mary Murray Shelton, but your name is Mary Murray Shelton, not Reverend, that is not your name. Christ was not Jesus's last name. You know, we have to understand there's a difference between an identification or a role and who we are, because we're more than that. But in the moment when we want to feel secure, when we want to feel stable and authoritative and respected, we may say, my name is, and use our position or our role as an introduction, instead of, hi, I'm so-and-so, and this is my position or role right now in this place or this situation. Does that make sense? I know it's nitpicky, it's like being a grammar Nazi, but you know, it's something that bugs me, so I'll own that. When we feel broken open, we can't hide behind whatever it is that we use. You know, I'm so-and-so's mom, or whatever it is that we use to give ourselves a place, to identify ourselves in such a way to other people that they somehow know something about us that gives us some authority or some position. Are you with me here so far? Yeah? Douglas Bloch wrote in his book, Healing from Depression, there is no pain quite like that of a broken heart. But a broken heart is an open heart. When it's broken open. And he goes on to say, and when this happens, a transformation can take place. In the midst of pain, we feel a softness and vulnerability that are truly beautiful. We become more accepting and open. Judgment and criticism are replaced by compassion for others and an acceptance of life. So we feel broken open, we feel vulnerable, we feel defenseless. Like, if I'm in this position, is somebody going to come over and join me in my embarrassment? Maybe not. You know, somebody might stand up and say, oh, that was my fault, but I'm the one feeling the embarrassment in the moment. I'm the one that knows I was caught. I was doing something that was out of alignment with how I like to be perceived. Now, it may also be out of alignment with how I hold my own values, but it's definitely out of alignment with how I want other people to think of me or think about me. I've had situations where I've been ranting and raving about something that I had an opinion about, and a friend or a colleague has said to me, well, you're not considering XYZ, you know, you're just judging this person out of hand, but you do that. And that's a moment of embarrassment because I recognize several things in that moment. One is, I've done it again. I've launched off into judgment somehow, unfairly, possibly. I've been caught at it. And this person has also indicated that this is something I've done before that they've observed in me. A quality that I have not realized is that observable, and also that I don't want to be judged for that. I don't want to be that. Can you relate to this? And with you, it may not be judgment, it might be something else. But when you get caught doing it, you realize, I can remember Paulette's son saying years ago that somebody interrupted and said something to her, and Paulette tends to be very strong and very assertive and very direct in what she says, and very right. Her husband said to her once, you know, if you're right about this, then you're right. Do you need to always be so right? And so immediately when somebody said something to her and she was thinking about, oh God, did I do it again? Am I being arrogant? Am I being, you know, there's that panic moment of, oh. So a mirror has been placed in front of us. One of the things that we were talking about at the convention in South Carolina that I just came back from was making a pivot from looking through the lens at the rest of the world. So we look out at other people through a particular lens where we can evaluate, we can analyze, we can judge, we can categorize, right? That's the lens. So Sean Ginwright is recommending that we pivot from that lens to looking at what's out there as a mirror. Rather than analyzing it, letting it reflect something of who we are back to us so that we become more aware of who we are in the world. So when someone is doing something that we find really difficult and we wish they wouldn't, or we want to get away from it, often there's an element of that that's a reflection of something in us. Maybe we wouldn't even have recognized that to be annoyed by it unless it was something that we also carry. It may be something we don't want to own, of course, and so that's there as well. So we feel defenseless in that moment of embarrassment, and we may also feel disoriented and confused. Now, this goes along with any kind of moment where we experience a loss. So it can be a loss of a thing, a loss of our status, a loss of a relationship, a loss of work or a career. It may be a loss of our sense of self, or we're becoming more aware of who we are, and it's disorienting because there are things about us that were kind of invisible to us for a while, and now suddenly they're visible and we don't know how we feel about that. So when we're in that, and all of this can happen in an instant when we feel embarrassed. We feel vulnerable, we feel broken, we feel defenseless, and we also can feel disoriented and confused. Like, I didn't even mean to say that. How did that get out of my mouth? I don't even believe that. Why did I say that? And now I'm in this position where all of these people heard me say that, and they look at me and they think that's how I am, but that's not how I am. And how did that? Do you ever go through those things in your mind where you're rethinking what you said or did, like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that? How in the world? What possessed me? You know? M. Scott Peck says, our finest moments can occur when we're feeling uncomfortable or unhappy. For it is in such moments that we're likely to step out of our ruts and find different ways or truer answers. Now, I'm not sure that we're always likely to look for truer answers or better ways. Sometimes how we react is different. Sometimes when we're caught. And here's the difference, I think, for me. I recognize that since I was in my 20s until now, which has been a few years, I have discovered what happens in me when I feel defensive. I've become familiar with what that feels like. And the problem with being defensive is that it does not help the situation. We do it as a way to protect ourselves when we react defensively. But what it tends to do is create more upset in the other person because we're not really listening to them. We're trying to justify, explain, give reasons why we did what we did, or why we said what we said, or how they're wrong about their perception about us. And when we do that, the other person just gets more upset and angrier because they recognize that we're not actually listening to what they experienced, what they saw and felt in the way that we did whatever it was that we did. Does this make sense? And so defensiveness is normal. It's kind of, the first reaction that we get instead of curiosity or opening up to discover more. Tell me more about that. I don't relate to what you just said, so help me understand what you're seeing that I'm not seeing. But instead, we may attack back. We may give excuses. We may deny it altogether. Those are some of the things that we sometimes do when we feel that way. We may turn the criticism back on them. So you say to your partner or spouse, I wish you would do X, Y, Z. It always bugs me when you do this instead, and I wish that you would do X, Y, Z because it makes it hard for me and I don't like it, and it embarrasses me in front of the neighbors, blah, 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 whatever it is. And the partner might say back to you, yeah, well, you do blah, 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 blah. Okay, now we're going to fight. Nobody's listening. We're both mad. We're both defending ourselves, and we're attacking on different fronts, right? Has this ever happened to you? Does that sound familiar at all? And it doesn't work, right? That's the thing about it. It's amazing that we keep doing that because it really doesn't work. It only enmeshes us more in the problem. So Pema Chodron, the Tibetan Buddhist abbess in Canada, who is quite a gentle, centered soul, she wrote in her book, When Things Fall Apart, the most precious opportunity presents itself when we come to the place where we think we can't handle whatever's happening. It's too much. It's gone too far. It's as if you just looked at yourself in the mirror and saw a gorilla. The mirror's there. It's showing you, and what you see looks bad. And that's being nailed in life. The place where you have no choice except to embrace what's happening or push it away. And when we push it away, it's only pushed temporarily. It always comes back around some other way. It comes in through a different door. The thing to be able to do that actually makes a difference is to meet it somehow. To be willing to stand in the storm, to be curious about it, to ask questions about it, to somehow open to it, which is counterintuitive, I think. We want to protect ourselves, and yet it's the least effective thing we can do in that moment. Eckhart Tolle says in The Power of Now, attention is the key to transformation. The full attention implies acceptance. Attention is like a beam of light, the focused power of your consciousness that transmutes everything into itself. When we give attention into a situation like that, when we become curious about it, when we open to finding out more, we are creating a new pathway, a new opportunity for us to go through into a different place, to respond in a new and different way. We had a lot of speakers at the convention this past week, and one of them is a minister who has a special focus ministry. His name is Daryl Jones, I think, Daryl Jones. And one of the things I perceived about him that was different from every other speaker, every other musician, everybody that stood on the platform, was that he was absolutely peaceful. His presence was relaxed and confident and friendly and easy and peaceful. It was almost like, by listening to him and kind of absorbing what he was saying, we were also getting a deeper message that was being conveyed beyond the words, which had something to do with his long-term meditation practice, that he could be grounded wherever he went, whatever he did. And not only was he in that place, it had kind of a contagious effect on us in the room. A technique I learned from a therapist was, as we move into a moment of transition between one thing and the next thing, between one task and the next, between one activity or place and the next, between one conversation and the next, is just to take a single deep breath. So let's do that. Now imagine that in that deep breath, you shifted from the universe you're used to into a parallel, completely new universe. And in that universe, everything you thought that you had failed at or were not good at or were not able to do, there was a new possibility opened to that in this instant, in this moment. And you don't know it yet because you haven't lived into the new reality. But in that breath, you shifted gears. Imagine that. So we go into the following breath as if life is exactly the same. But we may have little clues to let us know that the universe is offering us a new possibility, a new opening. And every moment can be like that, with our attention, with our willingness. So it's when we're broken, it's when we're vulnerable, it's when we feel hurt, that we have the greatest possibility for a leap forward in transformation. You know, I love to give the example of the caterpillar that turns into a butterfly. I love that example because what has to happen to a caterpillar to become a butterfly is like everybody's worst fear, really. So a caterpillar, now this is irresistible for a caterpillar. So, you know, we have a choice to not change. We have a choice to not transform. We have a choice to stay just the way we are. A caterpillar doesn't really have that choice. A caterpillar has this wave come over it that's irresistible, where it just begins to eat everything in sight. It just, leaves and stuff. It doesn't eat, you know that. So it eats. And then it climbs up onto a limb, and it hangs upside down on the limb, and it creates a chrysalis around itself, which is like it's entombed really in this case, right? And initially, as you can see up here, the case looks hard and it's opaque, okay? And the caterpillar is in there. Now, what's happening in the caterpillar's body is that imaginal cells, and they actually call them that, are attacking the caterpillar's body. And its immune system is fighting back, fighting, but it's losing. The imaginal cells are multiplying. The caterpillar is losing, and its body is liquefying. The truth is that the caterpillar is an entirely different genome than the butterfly. That to me is astounding. Like, this creature is really two creatures in one always. It lives its life on the ground or crawling around up to a point, and then that creature goes and a new creature comes forth. So while this is happening in the chrysalis, the caterpillar is resisting. It's fighting back, which is part of what is necessary to increase the imaginal cells and cause that butterfly creation to take place. There's a period of time in that chrysalis where that caterpillar is nothing more than caterpillar soup. Now, if that was the end of it, which the caterpillar certainly thinks it is, I'm sure, it would be over. It would just be jello, and that would be it. But it doesn't stop there. The imaginal cells keep multiplying, and they're creating an entirely new being inside. You begin to see through the chrysalis to what is happening, what is becoming in there. But this is not the end of it, because that critter still has to get out. So when the time comes that it's so big and so full and so ready, the chrysalis cracks. Now the butterfly has to get out of there somehow. And the butterfly's body is full of liquid, and it has to struggle to get out. And what happens in that struggle is that it's as if the caterpillar's body pumps the liquid out of the body part of the caterpillar into the wings. So that when it manages to start to get out, and the pumping continues until the wings are able to unfurl and dry in the sun so that that caterpillar can actually fly. That's why if you help one get out, it dies, because the pumping mechanism can't work that way. The struggle is part of the process of becoming a butterfly. So we too need to break open in order to, and struggle in order to open to the new. One of the things that this minister said, who was so peaceful, was, where did we get the idea that we were never supposed to put any effort into anything? That new thought meant you never had to work at anything, you never had to effort at anything. He said, that's ridiculous. Of course we have to put energy and effort into what we want to become, what we want to see, in order to evolve, in order to progress and transform and grow and become that greater self. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, said, our evolution is an awakening to what was before we awoke to it. Because our awakening to it could not produce that which was not. We awaken to existing principles, which we may use uniquely, and in so doing, produce a new thing. But the new thing is made out of that which has always been, and by a method which was always possible. This demonstrates not a new possibility, but a new form resulting from a new awareness. What happens when we're broken open is there's a new awareness that is possible if we're willing to be vulnerable with it, to hang in that discomfort and allow that vulnerability to open us to something new. So we begin to come into the opportunities for greater awareness, for compassion for ourselves and other people who are flawed like us, to forgiveness of them and of ourselves and of our own embarrassment. We may need to apologize, we may need to make amends, or we may need to just be aware in a different way. And it can open us into humor and healing if we catch ourselves in an embarrassing moment. I can remember years ago I wanted to talk about the importance of our flaws, and I asked my son, who's a gamer, when you're in a role-playing situation, and you have to create a character as one of the people in the role play. You have to create a character. How do you do that? I know the character has certain strengths and abilities and certain capacities, and what all do you create? He said, well, you don't want to create a character that's too perfect. Because he said, if you do that, the only thing the storyteller who's weaving all these characters together, the only thing the storyteller can do is kill you off. And nobody wants that to happen. So you have to create a character that has some flaws so that they have room for learning and growth and change. Otherwise, there's no point in playing the game. And that's the critical thing. Otherwise, there's no point in playing the game. I've said it before, and I will say it again. We're here for a reason that goes beyond just discovering that we are the light of the world, that we are the expression of God, that we are, and I don't mean us as opposed to all other beings and all other life forms anywhere or the earth itself. We are all the expression of the presence of God. We are all the light. But at the same time, we have to come here to develop and learn and grow. Otherwise, there's no point in doing this. There's no point in being here unless we're here to stretch and transform and grow and become and discover the greater self that we are. Are you with me here? Yeah? St. Paul says in his letter to the Romans, do not be conformed to this age. Or we might say, do not be conformed to your life as it is, as it has always been. Don't settle for that, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And that's possible no matter how old we are, no matter what our condition is, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, psychological, heart. All of it, the mind can move. Even if we perceive the world differently from everybody else in what somebody else would call mental illness, there are still possibilities. It's not over. The universe brings things to us in a different kind of way. Maybe nobody else can see what's transforming or growing or learning in us. But the potential, the possibility is always there for every human being if we're here embodied. That's available. Stuff happens, and some of it we can't control, and it gives us a gift. So I want to share a story with you in conclusion from this fellow. He says, in the spring of my junior year, my friend Doug died. We weren't close, but in a graduating class of 65 students, losing one was enough to turn your world upside down. Doug was part of the preppy group, and I was part of the group Doug's friends made fun of. He wore Abercrombie and Fitch, hung out with jocks, and caught the attention of more than a few girls. I wore baggy t-shirts, befriended band geeks, and was a wallflower at school dances lamenting, when are they going to play some Pearl Jam? We weren't much alike, but we'd known each other for 8 years, which was long enough to know something about him that not everyone knew. Doug had a heart condition. So when I heard one day in school, during second period, that he'd collapsed on the gym floor, I didn't think much of it. This had happened before, was probably nothing. By the end of the day, I'd forgotten all about it. We heard the announcement that Doug died at 3 p.m. It came over the intercom 9 minutes before the dismissal bell. 9 minutes. Hardly enough time to process a life-changing event, much less the death of a classmate. But that was all we had. Hearing the news, our eyes widened and our jaws dropped. No one cried. We stared at each other, at the floor, at the teacher, looking for someone, anyone, to give us directions on how to react. We were all too young to know what to do. The bell rang. No one moved. A minute later, our principal's crackling voice came on the intercom telling us we could go to the gym to talk with someone. Assembling in groups, according to our social circles, grief finally set in. The preppies cried. The jocks sat solemnly. The goth kids asked, do we have to come to school tomorrow? But a lot of us just sat in shock, unable to move our mouths or our feet. I didn't know what to do. Sitting in the bleachers and staring at the shiny wood floor where Doug's body lay only hours before, I thought about life and death and my own mortality. It all seemed too much for a 17-year-old to take in. After 30 minutes of watching classmates weep while others made snide remarks, I went to my locker, grabbed my stuff, and drove home. 15 minutes later, my mom greeted me at the door, wrapping both arms around me and squeezed tight. Then I cried. That summer, life was different. We were all grieving in our own ways. My friends and I decided to relish every moment because we now knew there was no promise of the next. It began with doing something I was deathly afraid of, picking up the phone. Since I didn't have many friends, I started with the people I ate lunch with, asking if we could get together to go bowling. This turned into a weekend ritual that grew into regular hangouts, sometimes several times a week. Eventually, we did everything together, watched movies, studied, drove the downtown strip. There's not much else to do in rural Illinois on a Saturday night. Anything we could do to avoid being alone. Having spent the first 2.5 years of high school hiding, a group of friends was new to me. Afraid of being picked on for being too smart, too chubby, too geeky, too shy, too funny, or too different, I had done my best to become invisible. But now those fears seemed trivial in the light of that gym floor. I'd seen somebody who seemed to have everything lose his life, and I wondered, what would I have to lose? The summer after Doug died, I lost 20 pounds, I became a runner, and I started eating healthy. I got a job as a cook at a restaurant and found a group of friends I could be myself with. Tragic as it was, something beautiful was born from that death. I don't think it had to happen, but it did. My friends and I were not trying to make the most of it. We were just trying to survive, but we'd learned a valuable lesson about life. It doesn't last forever. Senior year came and went. I asked Katie, the cheerleader, to the homecoming dance, and she said yes. I was accepted to a private college on scholarship and also got my first girlfriend, followed by my first breakup. Through it all, I grew to appreciate the ebb and flow of life. The next 4 years were some of the best in my life. I met people who would become my best friends, even married one of them. I studied abroad for a semester and got to see the world. I learned another language, fell in love with travel. I even began to discover my calling as a writer. Never again was I the invisible kid, the scared-to-death teenager who hid in the hallways. I knew the cost of anonymity. I had learned that being noticed and vulnerable was nowhere near as scary as losing your life, nor the empty, fear-filled existence I'd had before. Not the empty, fear-filled existence I'd had before, but the real, abundant life I now treasured. I learned all these lessons from an untimely death on a high school gym floor, or maybe, perhaps, in spite of it. A huge shock, a loss, a breaking open. It seems like what we want to avoid, but it's the very thing we came here for. To be cracked open into a greater yet to be, a greater possibility. So I know that some of you are in the midst of some real challenges in your life right now. Things that are difficult for you physically or emotionally or spiritually, where you may feel broken open or defenseless or confused or angry. Congratulations. That is a moment of great possibility for transformation. Painful, it might be. But there is something inviting you across a new threshold. Each one of us, as we struggle with something, our option is to hang back with the blue pill or to go forward into the possibility we've been invited into. I want to encourage you to step over the threshold. So let's take a moment and anchor this now within in prayer. Here now is the presence of God. God, one, indivisible, present everywhere fully in every being, always. This is the truth of who we are, of who I am. I recognize in knowing this that the universe is filled with that which has not yet been discovered, and its seeds are within me, within us. So I speak this word for us now, for every one of us, that those seeds are germinating. They are breaking open within us, and we are meeting that breaking open with curiosity, humbly, looking deeply into what is coming forth to be born in us, what wants to be expressed, what is inviting us to recognize the deeper truth of who we are and the tremendous value that we were embodied into from the very beginning. This is the wholeness at the center of us. And so I know that as we step into this week, I call forth within us an awakening, an awareness, a breaking open in consciousness to allow us to step over the threshold with courage and curiosity, undefended and available to the love of the universe, to the support of the infinite possibilities, to the release of belief in the limitations and sadnesses that hold us back, to step into the light with all of our flaws, with compassion and gratitude, and allow ourselves to rise in flight like the butterfly. This is within us now, and it is taking place. The seeds are germinating. The butterfly is pumping. This is what we are born for. This is who we are. We greet this now with courage and the strength of being here together with each other. We open to it with love, with gratitude. We call it good and very good, and we allow it to lead us home. So I let this word go with gratitude, with peace and awareness into the creative law of mind and spirit and into the heart of God, where it has always been the truth of who we are. I let it go now for us all, and I claim it and let it be. And together we join in claiming this for ourselves as we say as one. And so it is. And so it is. I invite you to stand and join me in the morning's affirmation. And we say this as one voice together. Rather than hiding when I'm embarrassed, I'm learning to honor my feelings, acknowledge my mistakes or misunderstandings. When I can smile at my human foibles, I am stronger in facing my shadow. No shadow is more powerful than my willingness to grow. And so it is. Thank you. You may be seated. And so this is our time of sacred offering. If you're online with us this morning and you would like to text your offering, you can text it to the number on the screen and then just put in the amount, and it will lead you through the rest. For all of us, we bless all of the offerings that we're receiving in this moment and those that have come in the past week, and the very presence of you in the room as a gift. So if you're here for the first time this morning, your presence with us is your gift, and we're thrilled that you're here. We're all going to bless ourselves and the gifts we offer. So if you're giving your gift today, hold it over your heart in your hands or in your hands with a loved one if you're giving it together. And we will bless the offering being given. You know that what you bless, what you put your attention on, expands and grows. So as we bless our offering and send it into the world, it not only expands in its capacity, but also, because we do that, the good expands and the prosperity expands in our own lives. So we say this offering also as one. This gift I give is God in action. I now send it forth to bless and to prosper. I know that everywhere it goes, it is creating a world living in love, one heart and one thought at a time. And so it is. Go ahead. Daniel, it's all yours.
All right. One more song for you today. Nice to be here in person again.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Woo-hoo.
Hope you're all well. What a beautiful, no, thanks, yeah. I had a little 5-minute extra excursion on my drive. When I got into town, I took a left just on a little side street and discovered an entire neighborhood in which the redwoods were clearly the boss and the houses were just visiting. It was really special. Have you ever been to, some of you may have been to Yellowstone National Park or a place like this where there's herds of wildlife and so on, and they always tell you when you come into the park, you know, in Yellowstone, if you're driving through the park and there's a herd of buffalo on the road, you don't hurry the buffalo. That's where they live. You're just visiting, and that's where they live. And that's how it felt like. These redwoods are living here, and the rest of us are just visiting. And in a very real way, they're playing on a different time scale too, aren't they? I mean, centuries. My dad's mom, my bubby, died at 98, and that felt like a good long life. But redwood, I think, is just getting started at 98. So among everything else, well-chosen place to live. I mean, it's very, very special. I took a little video of this little side street just because I don't know if my wife and boy will believe it, how absolutely beautiful it is. It's really something special. I said it onto the video, and maybe I'll share it on Facebook too. I said, of all the places you could choose to live in the world, to choose to live on a little side street that's essentially a redwood grove. I mean, wow, you know. Anyway, so a lot of songs came to mind from your beautiful talk, and I live there. I live in that, I don't know about embarrassed a lot, but definitely should be. Maybe I should be embarrassed. Maybe I should be embarrassed a lot more often than I am, but I have a lot of songs about living that way because I do more or less live that way. I have done for about 25 years. I talked about myself before, probably ad nauseum, but child of two lawyers, I was not raised to embarrass myself. I was raised to keep my head down, do a good job, dress much better than I'm dressed today, and go home. My mom's advice to me on my first day of my first corporate job was, keep your head down, keep your mouth shut, do a good job, and go home. And I have actually violated all 4 of those sentences regularly ever since. Oh well, it was probably good advice, but I just didn't follow it. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, my friend, the singer-songwriter Megan McDonough, maybe some of you are familiar, a gifted, wonderful woman and wonderful singer. She has a song that's called "Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It." You know. Anyway. So that being said, so I'm going to do a concert in about 2 hours. Is it 2 hours? 1 o'clock. So you have time to eat here. You have time to eat somewhere else. Come on back. We're talking about, it'll be like an hour and a half of music. No intermission. Just sit and let me serenade you on a beautiful afternoon. I won't overstay my welcome because there's sunshine to catch. But I would love to sing you some more songs. I have a lot to choose from. And some of you already have seen the things that I put on my table. Today I have music. I have a USB drive. If you don't know what that is, don't ask. You don't want it. But it's a flash drive with 14 albums on it at this point. 14, all my inspirational music in one little depressingly tiny object. And then I have my wife's jewelry, and she just finished a few pieces that are absolutely beautiful. I just actually saw them for the first time taking them out. So she's a silversmith, self-taught. We are a stay-at-home hippie family in the least hippie place in the world, Orange County, California. We're the last hippies in Orange County. Anyway, so here is I don't know if there's a song left that I haven't recorded for you on a video. I mean, I've done a lot of songs for you guys over the last couple of years. I said it last time, I'll say it again. It was a lifeline for me. Over the years, over the last 2 or 3 years, people have come up to me and said very nice things about my Facebook shows and about the videos. Daniel, your songs kept me going. Nice things like that. And the only thing I can say in return is, no, you showing up kept me going. Kept me purposeful and useful and helpful, and kept me doing the thing I love to do the most. And the thing that I long to do the most is, honestly, it's not to sound noble, it's just true, is to sing a song that does some good. That's the truth. And there I was, hamstrung completely, no live performances like everybody else, and you all reached out and said, hey, we actually would still like to hear what you do, even if it's on a little screen. And I can't tell you, I'm not going to belabor it, I can't tell you how much it means to me that you all would listen to my songs and that it would do some good at a time when I most wanted to do some good and was least able to in the normal way. So here is sort of a little medley, a song and a half kind of thing that came to mind today. A lot of songs came to mind. So I'll be back at the table for a little while, then I'll see you again at 1 o'clock if you feel like coming. How much is the concert? $20. And is it, if somebody doesn't have $20? Okay. Oh, there's tickets back there. Okay. Okay, yeah. Okay, good. Okay, then I'll stop talking. Okay, here we go. Yeah. Stopping talking, not my specialty. Here we go. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Everything I've ever done, everything I've ever seen, everything I've lost or won, everything I've ever dreamed has brought me here to the present moment, here to a new beginning, here, and I'm seeing life so clearly now. Want to sing with me? Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. Diving in. I'm diving into the deepest kind of love, to the deepest kind of love, the sweetest kind of life, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Get ready, 'cause there's the kind of life when every choice you make's the safe one, predictable, when every moment's like the last one, everything even slightly barely scary is locked away. It's the kind of life where your engine's never gunning, sitting tight. I know your heart is hardly running. Nobody better be messing with the schedule for your usual day. Then there's the kind of life where your pot of gold may never come, where your dream's so big it's never done, where your work feels less like work than fun. Tell you what I want, that one, I want that one, yeah. Give me the kind of life where wrong is sometimes right and black is sometimes white as well. I want that one, oh yeah, that one. I will fail and I'll succeed, I'll laugh and I will bleed. Every day's a mystery and time will always tell. Look at me, going a million different directions. Messy me, I call it perfect imperfection. Don't bother asking me where I'm headed, 'cause I really don't know. No, crazy me. Today I may become a rock star. Then again, it would be so cool to drive a NASCAR. Tomorrow I might decide to wrestle crocodiles for Nat Geo. You don't need to say that my pot of gold may never come. I know, blah, blah, blah. My work is never done. But if a life can be never-ending fun, tell you what I want. That one, that one. I want that one, that one. Yeah, give me the kind of life where I'm kind of flying blind and black is sometimes white as well. I want that one, not some boring, ordinary, flat one. I will fail and I'll succeed. I'll laugh and I will bleed. Every day's a mystery. Yeah, that's the life for me. Oh, that's the life for me. That one. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's nice. Thank you, Barb.
All of us together, on behalf of Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living, do accept this offering. We bless it and we send it out into the world now to encourage people to get curious when they get embarrassed, to allow themselves that moment of possibility. And so it is. All right. Now, if you happen to be here for the very first time this morning, I want to direct your attention to the table right back here. This is a table that has all kinds of handouts and stuff on it for you. Feel free to pick up anything you like. And also there are welcome packets back there that have a blue card inside of them. Pick up a welcome packet and fill out the blue card and hand it to Galen, who's waving those things in the air back there right now. And she's going to give you a little book that's our thank you to you for being here with us today and also your invitation to come back. It's called Nourishing Thoughts. It's a little book of affirmations that you can carry around easily in a pocket or a briefcase or a purse or something. And when you have a moment like that where you feel, ooh, take it out, open it somewhere, and let the affirmation remind you to breathe and to let go and to step into it and step forward. So we invite you to take a look at that, and we hope you'll be with us often in the future. Also, I want to take a moment to thank everybody who helped us set up today, who did everything to bring food for the potluck, although their names won't be up here, but because that's some of us. There is a potluck immediately after the service, and so we're going to be moving things around to get tables up for that in just a little bit. But let's give a hand to all the folks who are in service today, who are assisting us. And let's also give a special thank you to Daniel Nahmod for being here with us today as well. Yes. All right.
I'll tell you what, the folks who did this sound setup, they're here early, and that's a lot of work. I mean, it's a lot.
Yes, it is. They're amazing. Our team is amazing. Yeah. All right. Now, I have let you know before that one of our former ministers, Reverend Dr. Marcia Sutton, made her transition in December, and her memorial is going to be March 1st. It will be at the North Hollywood Church of Religious Science down in the LA area in North Hollywood on March 1st at 11 o'clock, but it also will be live streamed on Zoom. So in your bulletin this morning is the link for that Zoom live stream. And I didn't put it up here because it's really long, but it's in your bulletin this morning. So if you knew Marcia, if you want to attend her celebration of life, that's the way to do it. All the information is right there in your bulletin this morning, and we bless her on her way. Also, today we have a live concert with Daniel Nahmod at 1 o'clock right here in this room. Tickets are $20 and they're still available. If you don't have yours yet and you want to get it, talk to Galen at the back. She's got them. And also, I think if You know, if you're somebody who would really like to come to the concert and you don't have $20, give Galen whatever you can. And if you don't have anything to give, just whisper that in her ear and we'll give you a ticket, okay? Because we'd love to have you here with us. And Joe over here has a ticket she will give to somebody if somebody would like one and doesn't have one. Thanks, Joe. That's great. All right. Now, I am teaching, perhaps, financial freedom beginning Tuesday. We'll see. I have to look back at the sign-up sheet and see what I've got here in terms of students. But financial freedom is an 8-week class that is an application, practical application of spirituality to money, principles of money, and your own finances as well. So it will have some work involved in it. It's from 6:30 to 9:30, 8 Tuesday evenings in a row, beginning this coming Tuesday night on Zoom. And you can either talk to me after the service if you're interested in it, but you haven't signed up. Actually, that would be the best way to do it. So let me know, and we'll see if you've signed up and it doesn't end up happening. I'll let you know this week, okay? Before Tuesday, obviously. All right. We have an opportunity for service at the San Francisco Marin Food Bank on Tuesday, March 12th, from noon to 2 p.m. It's only a 2-hour once a month. But if you haven't done it before and you'd like to, you know, people sign up by the month. So if you would like to do it in March and be part of the team, please contact Ellen Nicosia at the phone number and email up on the screen. Text or leave her a voicemail message with your name and your contact info that you'd like to be on the March team. Or, an even easier way is just to talk to Ellen this morning. Stand up, Ellen, so they know who you are. Got the beautiful red poncho on. If you'd like to know more about it, you can also ask Ellen questions about the process. So we invite you to do that. Now, those of you that haven't been involved in the women's drumming group, you'll know that it's been on hiatus for a while. They're regrouping to start again, and they're only going to be doing this now on the equinoxes and the solstices. So the spring equinox, March 20th, is the next one at Unity in Marin, and it's $20, but no one's turned away for lack of funds. So you're welcome to join with the drumming. Either bring your own drum, I think they have some available, or you can just hang out in the vibes. And you're welcome to do all of that. And then lastly, let me remind you, we really highly value prayer, and we've got our practitioner available over here at the prayer table this morning. You can put a prayer request in. There are forms over there. You can put a prayer request in the box, or you can get a prayer with Ann this morning live after the service. So just present yourself at the table if you'd like a prayer, and she'll take you backstage to a private area where you can have that. If she's not there when you come to the table, just hang out. She'll be back in just a minute. And we encourage you to take your courage and get a prayer this morning. Also, of course, we're having a potluck immediately following the service, and we'd like to ask your help a little bit because we've got to get potluck tables set up and then taken down after we eat so that we can have the concert. Now, Daniel, are you going to be on this side for the concert, or are we shifting things around? Or
I'll be here, I think.
Okay, so, you know, those of you that want to plant yourselves first, so you're right in front of him, you can get over here. Galen will be checking off the names of people who've already purchased tickets, so do check in with her at the back table back there just to let her know you're here. Give her your ticket if you have a physical one, or show her your printed out receipt from your email, either way. All right.
It'd be okay if some tables stay out in the room. I mean, it's up to people. If they want to sit.
Yeah, if people want to sit at tables, Daniel says that's fine too, if we want to leave a few up. So we'll just see how it goes, okay? But we're going to start right at 1, so we got to stop now. So please stand and join us for the closing blessing and song. And we say this also in one voice: I now walk, so that whoever walks beside me dwells in the presence of God, and whoever places a hand in mine is lifted, and whoever thinks of me is illumined with God consciousness. For spirit and all people and I are one eternally. And so it is. And take it away, Daniel, lead us in song. Here we go.
I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Sing it again. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Sing it again. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here.
And I want to say one more thing real quick. Those of you online, if you want to attend the concert, it's being live streamed to YouTube on a private link. If you go to, go to the website and find the information about Daniel, and you can still get a ticket and attend on the live stream, okay? Thank you for being here. We love you. Namaste.